The Ghost of Elm House. Carrie was sad. Her husband Jack had been called up to enlist for the Great War, which had broken out all over Europe. He was a teacher, but was needed to fight on the front line, and she was worried she may not ever see him again. It was early 1915. He was wanted in Flanders, Belgium, and he would have to leave soon. The children, Sally and Harry, weren't happy either, knowing too well they would miss their dad almost straight away. Soon they had to say their farewells. Of course, there were plenty of hugs, kisses and tears. "Keep the light burning, my love," he said. "I'll soon be back. This war will be over by Christmas." But it wasn't. In fact, a month later, a strange and ominous telegram arrived in the post. Carrie desperately hoped it was from Jack, but she nearly fainted when she read the words, "Deeply regret to inform you, Jack A. Warner was killed in action, Flanders, November 1916. Oh my God! She could barely get the words out and collapsed in their big dark old house, now an empty lonely shell. She decided not to tell the children. It would upset them too much, and she needed to be strong for them and carry on their homeschooling. It was then that the mysterious noises started to happen. Strange scraping sounds late at night, tapping on the windows, footsteps growing louder, then fading away. She was on her own with the kids and felt increasingly vulnerable. She dismissed the noises. It must be the wind blowing the branches of a tree, knocking against the window. Could even be next door. She couldn't go on though, but go on she did. Her resolve was incredible, bolstered by a new romance, that of a meeting at the village shop with Jim Mc Eldry, an advisor to the War Office, but who had been taken ill and who needed a vacation to recuperate and get better. So she invited the eager Jim to move in with her and the children. She told Sally and Harry that he was a friend of the family. She was so desperate for company and couldn't bear to put up with the weird goings-on by herself. However, the hauntings only got worse, much worse, with Jim's arrival at Elm House. One night, when the children were in bed, they both heard a scraping sound, like a box being moved across the wooden floorboards. "Just go away!" Carrie shouted after many sleepless nights. She found the candles going out after flickering away in their holder on many occasions. Was it a poltergeist, they thought? A tapping at the door at 2 a.m. one night found Carrie reluctantly opening the back door. She screamed out loud. It was Jack, standing there, forlorn in his uniform. His face had been quite caved in, almost a third of it missing. A pale white pallor stared back, blood droplets trickling into the eyes, like a black bottomless crater pits staring back into hers, almost begging, but for what? Jim hurried as fast as he could from their bedroom and shouted, "Carrie, what is it?" But when he got to her and looked, the uniform-shrouded figure had disappeared. She noticed on returning back to their sitting room photographs, old worn-out black and white ones, fluttering on the floor, a reminder of the happier times with her husband Jack, smiling faces at the seaside. Was this a message? What was the spirit trying to say? Carrie could not take any more of the hauntings, and unfortunately she had to be admitted to a local mental hospital ward. Her resolve had crumbled. Such was the trauma of losing her husband, and then the hauntings that followed just proved too much. When she came out a month later, the hospital staff warned her to try to keep Jack's memory alive. She had to erect framed pictures of him all over the house, and of him with her and the children too. The old black Bentley car of Jack's she and Jim were planning on selling, they had to now keep in the garage. Jack's smoking pipe, clothes and his flat cap they had to hang up as if he was still living in the house. The staff said for her and Jim to visit places that she and Jack liked to go, places like the Dog and Whistle pub, the river at Meander's Well, the duck pond they liked to visit with the kids. It was as if Jack's spirit was with her again, and if she strayed somewhere new, the hauntings would start up again. That was with her, and the spirit would feel troubled and unhappy. Carrie and Jim thus decided not to marry, for Jack's ghost's sake. It would cause too much trouble, and the kids were doing well and settling at their schooling at a local school down the road. Eventually, Jim decided to leave Carrie, and the ghostly happenings at Elm House died right down, almost unnoticed, and the poltergeist activity subdued. It was at this time much later that Carrie found out that Jack had not died on the front line. They had mixed him up with someone else, another Jack Warner, in the telegram. He had in fact been placed into a German prisoner of war camp in Poland, where he did eventually, a year later, succumb to death from hunger and malnutrition. All this time he was trying to reach out to Carrie with his spirit and thoughts, trying to alert her, trying to reach her to the fact that he was still alive and in need of rescuing. But it was to no avail. He was to die, alone, cold, wretched, in the wet mud, missing her and the kids. After Jim left for London, things returned to normal for Carrie, Sally and Harry. The children grew up, still missing their dad, but would always deem him a hero of the First World War. One of the children became a doctor of the paranormal, the other a doctor of medicine. As for Carrie, she would never forget Jack and kept his memory alive every day by singing their favourite song. Indeed, it was called Love and Laughter. The words were, "Ah, love, my love is like a cry in the night, a long loud cry to the empty sky, the cry of a man alone in the desert, with hands uplifted, with parching lips. Oh, rescue me, thy form to mine arms, the dew of thy lips to my mouth. Dost thou hear me, my call through the night? Darling, I hear thee and answer, thy fountain am I. All of the love of my soul will I bring to thee, all of the pains of my being shall ring to thee. Deep and forever the song of my loving shall sing to thee. Ever and ever through day and through night shall I cling to thee. Hearest thou the answer? Darling, I come, I come." The end.